as we welcome our last and final panel, which features your one and only beautiful MC April, they will be talking about our final topic, which is hoo-ha. So, the Pacific Islands are commonly characterized as small, dependent, isolated islands in the far sea. Yet, they are so much larger than we think. The voyaging term hoo-ha helps explain this notion of expanding an island to include more than just its land, but also the sky, clouds, animals, plants, and sea around it. The last panel uses this concept to pull together such explorations. Enjoy.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name's Imani, and how many people think that they understand the difference between like a U.S. territory and a commonwealth? Anyone familiar with those terms? Maybe, maybe not. Has anyone ever heard of a freely associated nation? That's also a thing. I could do none of these things before I embarked on this project. Essentially, my project explores the nature of the various political relationships the United States has with several islands in the Pacific. So yes, this is my paper. It's almost 20 pages long, and so we, of course, only have a few minutes. And so over the next bit of time that we have together, I'm going to take you on a little activity that will help expose some of the most interesting or important things I discovered about the islands in my analysis that I used to help write the paper. So you'll see around the room there are some posters with different islands on them. We have Guam, American Samoa, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the Marshall Islands. These are all places that I wrote about. In this bucket are a bunch of statements. I'll have someone draw one, read it out, and then your job is to move to the corner of the room that you think the statement applies to, of which I will reveal the correct answer later. Make sense? Okay, can I get a volunteer to read the first statement?
I am commonly referred to as where America starts the day due to my location just beyond the international date line. Who am I?
Did everyone hear that, or should I ever turn on and read it again?
I'm going to pretend I didn't see Bonnie, who studies Oceania, pointing in the direction. Okay, I am commonly referred to as where America starts the day due to my location just beyond the international date line. Well, it has to be
Oh, you don't have to say the answer. Just everyone's supposed to get up and move.
Oh,
yeah.
everybody.
To where you think it is.
Remember, America.
Jane, you wrote this one. You did it in class. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I see most people standing over here in Guam. That is the correct answer. I see you pointing your finger over here. How do you know?
Because we watched a Guamanian film in the Asian American film class and debated its relevance.
Yes, that is the correct answer. Can I get a volunteer to read the next statement? You want to read it? I think you do.
I am unincorporated territory. However, unlike my organized counterpart, I am considered unorganized because the U.S. never officially established a government for my people. Who am I?
Should she read it again?
Yeah.
I am unincorporated territory. However, unlike my organized counterpart, I am considered unorganized because the U.S. never officially established a government for my people. Who am I?
I
so? Okay, well, all of you over here.
They're split.
Oh, you're split? Okay, well, half of you are wrong. The correct answer is American Samoa. Likely due to the relatively cordial circumstances under which the relationship was formed, the U.S. never passed into law the organic act that would establish a government for American Samoa. Organic acts are like the legal means that the United States... Yes, that the United States uses to like historically claim or maybe more accurately steal territory. So indeed, there are a few customs and practices in American Samoa that could be threatened by the application of the U.S. Constitution. So the Native Land Ordinance is one. This ordinance passed just after the deeds of cession were signed, asserted that only Native Samoans could own land. Under U.S. law, this ordinance could be declared discriminatory and in violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. The Mai Tai system of government is another point of contention. While the House of Representatives are elected democratically in elections, senators are selected by local custom and village city councils. These senators, called Mai Tais, are highly respected village chiefs who could receive their who receive their titles through familiar relationships. And this practice, if put up against the United States Constitution, could also likely be in violation because the Constitution says no titles of nobility shall be granted to the United States. So there's like a lot of ambiguity or uncertainty for how the American Samoans kind of conduct their ways of life from their government with the U.S. Constitution, which is kind of why it is considered to be an unorganized territory. The United States has passed a law that would put into place a government there, but it has not been enacted. It's unorganized.
Probably good.
For the good, yes. Can I get a volunteer to read the next one?
Between 1946 and 1958, the U.S. tested 25 nuclear bombs on Maya atolls, meaning islands of Bikini and I'm just not going to say that word. Who am I?
Yeah.
Between 1946 and 1958, the U.S. tested 25 nuclear bombs on Maya atolls, meaning islands of Bikini and Eniwetok. Who am I?
Martin said this is the Marshall Islands. Really? Yeah.
Okay, I see most people, well, a few back in the Northern Mariana Islands, but all of you here in the Marshall Islands are correct. The U.S. did indeed test 25 nuclear bombs on the islands of Bikini and Eniwetok in the Marshall Islands. The really devastating thing is that the U.S., of course, never asked for consent from the indigenous people to use their lands. Instead, the U.S. capitalized on their religious beliefs. It convinced the residents of the Bikini Atoll that it was their duty to evacuate the land for the good of mankind. And to put this all on a timeline, the U.S. was testing atomic bombs in the Marshall Islands as early as 1946. Which was 40 years before the Marshall Islands became freely associated with the United States, which is another designation that I write about in my paper. So can I get another person to read one? You're right.
The U.S. colonization of me has been passively contested by the United Nations, which continues to list me as one of the 17 non-self-governing territories. Who am I?
Yeah, this is our last one.
No, I'm asking one more time.
Oh, one more time.
The U.S. colonization of me has been passively contested by the United Nations, which continues to list me as one of the 17 non-self-governing territories. Who am I?
Everybody move.
Walk around, going to the left.
Wow, you guys are all wrong. The answer is Guam. Congress has, so unlike American Samoa, which is an unincorporated, unorganized territory because the U.S. hasn't enacted the Organic Act there, in Guam, the U.S. has enacted an Organic Act, meaning that the U.S. has set up a government for Guam, so they are officially an unorganized, an unincorporated, organized territory of the U.S. So Congress has plenary power, which means absolute and total control over the island, as delineated explicitly in the Organic Act. And also, the U.S. through the Ninth Circuit District Court has explicitly asserted that Guam has no inherent right to govern itself. So in the eyes of the U.S., Guam is very much seen as U.S. possession. And if we talked quite a bit in class about one of the other statements was going to be about military presence in Guam between 2000. What's the date? Sorry, give me 1 second. Between 2009 and 2014, the U.S. Department of Defense put forth this $15 billion project to expand military operations in Guam. And I write that the U.S. wouldn't have been able to do that had they not thought of Guam as a belonging, and therefore they feel entitled to do things such as destroy their land and their coral reef in order to